Buddhist culture is exemplified through Buddhist art, Buddhist architecture, Buddhist music and Buddhist cuisine. As Buddhism expanded from the Indian subcontinent, it adopted artistic and cultural elements of host countries in Asia. Buddhist art originated in the Indian subcontinent in the centuries following the life of the historical Gautama Buddha in the 6th to 5th century BCE, before evolving through its contact with other cultures and its diffusion through the rest of Asia and the world. A first, essentially Indian, aniconic phase was followed from around the 1st century CE by an iconic phase. For that time, Buddhist art diversified and evolved as it adapted to the new countries where the faith was expanding. It developed to the north through Central Asia and into Eastern Asia to form the northern branch of Buddhist art, and to the east as far as Southeast Asia to form the southern branch of Buddhist art. In India, Buddhist art flourished and even influenced the development of Hindu art, until Buddhism almost disappeared around the 10th century with the expansion of Hinduism and Islam. Buddhist architecture. Buddhist religious architecture most notably developed in South Asia in the 3rd century BCE. Two types of structures are associated with early Buddhism: stupas and viharas. The initial function of a stupa was the veneration and safeguarding of the relics of the Buddha. The earliest existing example of a stupa is in Sanchi. In accordance with changes in religious practice, stupas were gradually incorporated into chatyagrihas. These reached the high point in the 1st century BCE, exemplified by the cave complexes of Ajanta and Ellora. Viharas were developed to accommodate the growing and increasingly formalized Buddhist monasticism. An existing example is at Nalanda. Buddhist temples were developed rather later and outside South Asia, where Buddhism gradually declined from the early centuries CE onwards, though an early example is that of the Mahalbodhi temple at Bodhgaya in Bihar. Buddhist music. Buddhist music prominently includes Honkyoku's Buddhist chant, and Shomyo. Honkyoku of the pieces of Shakuhachi Yoku for enlightenment and alms as early as the 13th century. Buddhist chant is the chant used in or inspired by Buddhism, including many genres in many cultures. It includes repetition of the name of Amitabha in Pure Land Buddhism, Shomyo in Japanese Tendai Shingon Buddhism, throat singing in Tibetan Buddhist chant. Musical chanting, most often in Tibetan or Sanskrit, is an integral part of the religion. These chants are complex, are often recitations of sacred texts or in celebration of various festivals. Yang chanting, performed without metrical timing, is accompanied by resonant drums and low, sustained syllables. Shomyo is a style of Japanese Buddhist chant, mainly in the Tendai and Shingon sects. There are two styles, Ryokyoku and Rikyoku, described as difficult and easy to remember, respectively. Many ritual musical instruments are used in association with Buddhist practice, including singing bowls, bells, tingsha, drums, cymbals, wind instruments and others. Buddhist cuisine. Buddhist cuisine is a kind of cuisine mainly for the believers of Buddhism. It is known as Jikai in China, and Shojinrari in Japan, and by many other names in other countries. Due to the understanding of animals as conscious and suffering beings, many Buddhists do not kill animals and many also do not eat meat. Certain major Mahayana sutras show the Buddha forcefully denouncing meat consumption and advocating vegetarianism. Some Mahayana Buddhists in China and Vietnam also avoid eating strong-smelling plants such as onion, garlic, chives, shallot, and leek, and refer to these as Wuhan. Buddhist vegetarian chefs have become extremely creative in imitating meat using prepared wheat gluten, also known as seitan, or wheat meat, soy, agar, and other plant products. Some of the recipes are the oldest and most refined meat analogues in the world. Cultural elements, Buddhist festivals and observances Versakasala Puja Magapuja, Vasa, Pavarana, Kathina Upasada, Buddhism and society, Buddhist cuisine Vegetarianism in Buddhism, Buddhist art Buddharupa art and architecture of Japan, Greco-Buddhist art, Thangka Buddhist architecture, Buddhist institutions Buddhist monasticism Buddhist councils, Buddhist music Honkyoku Buddhist chant Shomayo, overtone singing,